How about an overall comment about last weekend's game and about this weekend's matchup?
Well, I tell you, our kids were extremely excited. It was a good opportunity on September the 1st to get out there and play against another color. We got a lot of kids that were excited about having the opportunity to get out on the field and play against the Cajuns. And I thought, it's one of those games where you fight and you play, but there's a lot of mistakes involved as well. So we were good to get the first one under our belt. It's kind of like a pop quiz, when you start your class. You want to try to see where you are, and then you start scratching where it itches and start working on, what you need to work on in order to be better and to be a complete football team. So even though, it was disappointing, to lose to University of Louisiana, I thought our kids kept fighting. We did play a little bit better the second half and was able to move the ball a little bit, but the first half, them running 50-something plus plays in the first half, pretty much just put our defense in a situation that kind of made it very, very tough for them. But we have to stay on the field. We have to be able to run the football and throw the football effectively in order to be successful. And I think we will.
Coach, from your point of view, was it missed assignments, missed tackles, especially in the running game?
I don't think it was when you're speaking of our offense or defense.
Defense.
Our defense, I don't think it had much to do with missed assignments. More so than not, it had to do with getting lined up quicker, and then just making sure we stay in our gap. From time to time, we had a couple guys jumping gaps and things like that, and then solidifying tackles. So I mean, and some of that has to do with fatigue, but then some of it has to do with also trying to make plays. And and Coach Todd, he'll get all of that corrected. Our staff does a really good job of making sure that our players play discipline and play the right way. So we have to continue to work, but at the same breath, this is a team sport, and you got to be able to stay on the field offensively. And offensively, we weren't able to move the football, run the football in the first half, and then we weren't able to really throw it that much. So our focus is making sure that we can do everything well to stay on the field and move the football and be effectively. And I thought we did a much better job of that in the second half.
Coach, Saturday night you mentioned you felt like at this moment, the offense isn't explosive as it's been the last couple of years. Where does the search start to sort of change that from what you've been able to see?
Well, I mean, the first thing is Devontae Kincaid is not out there, and Martez Carter is not out there. But we do have some other playmakers that can make plays, throw the football, and run the football. It's just a matter of making sure that we get those guys those opportunities and make sure that they're in space, when they do get those opportunities. It's very tough, to get in any type of rhythm. When you only have, 18 or 20 or so plays in the first half, it's very difficult, in order to do that. So we know that and we understand that, and our kids are very, very confident. They understand what they have to do, and they have the ability to get it done. So we'll just go back to work. We'll scratch where it itches and keep rolling.
I know during camp you wanted the chance to work with the offense more during close practices and everything. Jeremy Hickbottom showed flashes of some excellence in the game versus ULL, but overall, were you pleased with the direction the offense is going overall?
Well, absolutely. I'm pleased with the direction in which we're going. Of course, when you look at the mistakes we made, it was never everybody at the same time. It was always either a quarterback or an offensive lineman or a tailback or a receiver. And that's normally what happens in week one ball games. It takes a little time in order for everyone to do the right thing all at the same time, and that's the challenge with playing offensive football is doing everything right in order to be effective. And there's no doubt in my mind we won't do that. We just have to continue to do what we do and be consistent in our approach.
You played multiple running backs in that first game, kind of getting to see a little bit of everybody, but the two quarterbacks had the most rushing yards in the game, so just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's one of those issues that we have to get corrected. You never want your quarterback to be the guy that's leading and rushing. You want your tailbacks to be leading and rushing. I thought they were doing some things that really took some things away for us, and I thought they were really, really good up front. And when you're a good defensive front, it's very difficult to run the football. But we'll be better, and we'll do things the way we should do.
When you look at the quarterback play of both of those guys, they both showed some great flashes. Hickbottom seemed to manage the game well. Clark wasn't afraid to run, even though he's a freshman. He really kind of took some command when he was on the field. Talk about the things that you felt like they both did well.
Well, both of them, ran the football pretty good. Hickbottom had a big, huge run, and of course Clark had a good run as well. But we want to make sure we can also distribute the football, because you can't make a living with your guys, your quarterbacks leading the team in rushing. You can't. That just can't happen. So that's why we got running backs, for them to run, and quarterbacks for them to throw. So, of course, our offense does have something to do with, that, with quarterbacks running a little bit. But you never want to be in a situation where they're leading the team in rushing.
Do you anticipate that battle continuing even through? I know you said the first couple of games you'd like to see both of them, throw them both out there. At the end of this Northwestern State game this weekend, do you still anticipate that battle going on?
Yeah, I'm not going to do you like Nick Saban did, McCurry. but at the end of the day, those guys both have earned, the right to play, and you let them sort it out, and their play on the field will decide, who plays and who plays the longest. I felt both guys, did a decent job of managing the game and a decent job of going where they were supposed to do with the football. Of course, we got to do more, but both guys deserve to play, and they'll continue to play.
First snap of the game, Hickbottom throwing that bomb to Geis, obviously proving that he can stretch the field a little bit. Do you expect to see more of that from him?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you want to make defenses defend all parts of the field, and that's something that we have to, make sure we do more of. We have to, stretch them vertically as well as horizontally.
Hey, Coach, moving on to Northwestern State. Now, how fair is it to gauge a team based on facing a top level team like Texas A&M?
Yeah, it's tough, but one thing I know about Coach Laird is a heck of a football coach, and he has a great staff. His team will be extremely disciplined, but then also they'll bring a blue collar approach, and they'll play extremely hard, and that's something that Coach Laird has always instilled in his players, even when we work together, at Northwestern. He's that type of coach that's going to make sure that his guys play hard and do things the right way. So, even with looking at the film, you can see them. They're down, 40 points, and those kids are still running, still tackling, still playing hard, and that's a Brad Laird team, and it has a lot to do with his pedigree, where he's from. He's a coach's kid, just like I am, and he'll have his guys ready to play, and they'll play hard, especially in Natchitoches.
How much is that familiarity with working with Coach Laird for all these years, even seeing him down the road in Ruston, how much does that help with game planning?
Well, it does some. One thing that he hasn't changed very much, defensively in the last couple of years, from watching him on the film. But he's an aggressive coach, and he's a winner, and he's a proven winner. Not only as a coach, but even as a player, he's a proven winner. So. We're going to have to work, and we're going to have to play the game the right way, and make sure we're disciplined and protecting the football, and force them, to do things that they don't want to do in order to be successful.
Going up against an old friend, does that make this one maybe a little more special?
Well, I mean, of course, it's always special. I'd be lying if I say it didn't. Being there and coaching there and spending time there, there's always a little bit of something, there. But I got a lot of love for a lot of people, there. Competition is always good, and we're looking forward to it.
You alluded to it, the game being played in Natchitoches. How much of an effect is that going to have, especially with, both teams kind of coming into that game with the first one under their belts?
It really doesn't matter. The way we look at it, we play the game, anywhere. Wherever we decide to play it, we'll put it down and go. That's our mindset. Here at Grambling, our kids are excited about, getting back on the field and getting another opportunity to correct the mistakes that they made. You can see that in last night's practice. Kids they're really focused on, playing better football, but they needed that quiz in order to, kind of see where they were, and because when the lights come on and when there's people in the stands, I say it all the time, you're dealing with 18 to 23-year-olds, you never know what you're going to get. And sometimes things can go a little haywire, but I didn't think they did. But there were some mistakes in there that we have to get corrected.
How much fun is it going to be trying to stop Jas Ferguson on Saturday?
Tough dude, really good player, and at the end of the day, he's tall for a reason, and they're going to make sure they get the ball to him, and we have to make sure that we make it tough for him, and as well as for the quarterback. So they got some good players, they got some good talent, and they do a really good job of recruiting.
Cargo went down early this past
Yeah.
Saturday with an injury. Flowers and Jones didn't suit up in the backfield. How are those guys doing?
Well, those guys are healthy. Flowers and Jones are healthy. Cargo is day to day. We'll see how things work out with him. He was at practice last night, and we'll see how things go.
I want to go back to the first snap, Christmas breaking up that pass, play the game for us. Talk a little about what you saw there and how important it was to try to start off on a note like that.
Yeah, you try to do things to create momentum, for yourself, and I thought, defensively they kind of set the tone with that first drive, and then, we tried to set it, but then we lost the momentum when you're not able to finish that drive, and sometimes that takes a little air out of your sail, when you make a big play and then get down there and don't punch it in. So we were down there several times, I think, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know how many times, 4 times. And, and you got to come away with touchdowns if you plan on beating a team, like a UL Lafayette.
From what I can remember about that third down there on that drive from the 4 or 5 yard line, I believe, when Jeremy rolled out, I thought he had Kevin open in the flats.
Yeah.
Did you see that when you look back on film? Was that just a missed, I guess, assignment on Jeremy's part there?
I wouldn't say it is. I think he was looking at the corner, and I thought the corner was trying to bait him into making a throw. And Jeremy is extremely smart, and he's intelligent, and he knows when someone's trying to bait him into doing something. And he wasn't going to allow someone to put him in a situation where we turn the football. We always talk about down there. You got to protect the football, and everything happens a little quicker. So he was just making sure that he's cautious. And at the end of the day, he made the right decision. We were able to get some points out of it.